Scientists reveal how Venus flytrap plants snap shut. Fossils show a crocodile ancestor dined on a young dinosaur. How lizards keep detachable tails from falling off. I'm Nidhi Kumar and you're watching Science Time, a show that brings to you the best that science offers, from exciting developments in science and technology to futuristic solutions. Let's start with story number 1. Scientists at Scripps Research have revealed the three-dimensional structure of flycatcher-1, an aptly named protein channel that may enable Venus flytrap plants to snap shut in response to the prey. The structure of flycatcher-1, published in Nature Communication, helps shed light on long-standing questions about the remarkably sensitive touch response of Venus flytraps. The structure also gives the researchers a better understanding of how similar proteins in organisms, including plants and bacteria, as well as proteins in the human body with similar functions called mechanosensitive channels, are like tunnels that span the membranes of cells. When jostled by movement, the channels open, letting charged molecules rush across. In response, cells then alter their behavior. A neuron might signal its neighbor. For instance, the ability for cells to sense pressure and movement is important for people's senses of touch and hearing, but also for many internal body processes, from the ability of the bladder to sense that it's full to the ability of lungs to sense how much air is being breathed. Previously, scientists had homed in on 3 ion channels in Venus flytraps, thought to be related to the ability of the carnivorous plant to snap its leaves shut when its sensitive trigger hairs get touched. In the new study, the researchers used cryo-electron microscopy, a cutting-edge technique that reveals the locations of atoms within a frozen protein sample, to analyze and precise arrangement of molecules that form the flycatcher-1 protein channel in Venus flytrap plants. Now that they are solved the molecular structure, the research team is planning future studies on the function of flycatcher-1 to understand how different conformations affect its functions. More work is also needed to determine whether flycatcher-1 is solely responsible for the snapping shut of Venus flytrap leaves or whether other suspected channels play complementary roles. And let's move on to story number 2. Well, fossils show a crocodile ancestor dined on a young dinosaur. For the first time, scientists have found indisputable evidence that an ancient crocodile ancestor chowed down on a dinosaur. Preserved within a fossilized crocodile form, a member of the new-found species dubbed Confractosuchu, are the partially digested remains of a juvenile bipedal ornithopod. Paleontologist White of the University of New England in Australia and colleagues report in Gondwana research. Crocodiliforms include modern species like crocodiles and alligators, as well as their ancestors. Those ancestors lived alongside dinosaurs for millions of years, and previous evidence such as bite marks on fossil dinosaur bones has hinted that crocodile ancestors dined on dinosaurs when the opportunity arose. But fossils within actual preserved stomach contents are extremely rare. In fact, see Saurocotonos is only the second extinct crocodiliform fossil with identifiable stomach contents and the first to reveal a meal of a dinosaur. C. Saurocotonos was about 2.5 meters long, slightly smaller than adult female American alligator, and lived between 104 million and 92.5 million years ago in what is now called Queensland, Australia. Similarities between the creatures' skull features and those living an extinct crocodiliform suggest that it didn't just eat dinosaurs. C. Saurocotonos probably cast a wide net when it came to seeking out prey. As for the grisly contents of its gut, including a few ribs and bits of leg and arm bone, they represent the first ornithopod ever found in Queensland Winton Rock Formation. The herbivorous dinomae may be a new species, although it's difficult to tell from these few pieces, the team says. And with this, let's move to story number 3. How lizards keep detachable tails from falling off. Lizards are famous for losing their tails, but perhaps the bigger question should be, how do their tails stay on? The answer may lie in the appendage's internal design, a structure of prongs, micropillars and nanopores holds a lizard's tail on tight enough to handle most jarring while remaining primed to drop the tail in case of an emergency, researchers report in the journal Science. Self-amputation or autotomy of a limb is a common defense strategy in the animal kingdom, including for many lizard species, but it's a risky plan. A detachable limb brings with it increased risk of accidental loss from small bumps and snags. It has to find the right amount of attachment so it doesn't come off easily, but it should also come off whenever it's needed. A lizard's tail consists of a series of segments that connect in a row like plugs into sockets. The tail can break off along any of these points called fracture planes, depending on how much of the tail the lizard needs to sacrifice. Between each segment, the prongs, 8 cone-shaped bundles of muscles arranged in a circle, fit neatly into corresponding sockets consisting of relatively smooth walls. Each prong is in turn covered in a forest of protrusions or micropillars that resemble tiny mushrooms. To uncover the function of this structure, the researchers first amputated tails from 3 species of lizards with a gentle tug and then analyzed the broken appendages under a scanning electron microscope. And zooming in on the mushroom-like protuberances revealed that each one is pockmarked with holes or nanopores. The researchers also noticed slight imprints in the interior walls of the socket left behind by the prong's micropillars as fingers pressed lightly into clay. This adaptation is important for lizards to optimize their survival. While autotomy helps keep a lizard from becoming lunch, it's a costly defense mechanism that affects a lizard's ability to run, leap, and mate and escape future predators. So it's important that the lizard abandons its limb only when necessary. This intricately designed system is a perfect example of how evolution can continually work on something to make it more effective. And with this, we come to an end of this edition of Science Time. We'll be back with more exciting stories from the world of science next week. Until then, stay tuned to India Science. Namaskar.